Hey everyone, I'm Laura Godenik. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of April 7th through the 20th, 2025. So there are lots of things going on right now. Today, Monday, April 7th, we have Venus, who's still retrograde, making an exact conjunction with Saturn in Pisces, and also Mercury is like right there, 1 degree away in Pisces as well. Stationing direct today, but we've really had this like Venus, Saturn, Mercury conjunction, meaning these planets have been within 3 degrees of each other for like the last week and a half. You might have even felt this energy. So there's a lot to say about this that you might have felt especially intensely over the last couple days, but it could be also for the last week. First of all, Venus is about relationships, love, beauty, our sense of style, our sense of value, self-worth, attraction. Venus's retrograde has taken us through an underworld journey regarding these themes. Maybe conflicts have come up in relationships. Maybe you've been fighting more with your partner or partners or someone you're close to, and you've had to work through challenges. Maybe you've been kind of reflecting on, things you want to change about the way you look, the way you express yourself. Maybe you've been deeply contemplating what love is to you. And I've been reading Bell Hooks' All About Love book, so this feels very thematic for this time frame for me. So this has been the Venus retrograde. Sometimes old relationships can come up with Venus retrogrades. It can really like reveal the underbelly of like things that haven't been addressed, things that have been lingering that we haven't really looked at, right? So that Venus retrograde, take that and apply it to, or combine it with Saturn. There's this kind of serious heaviness that comes up around these themes. So Saturn is about seriousness, commitment. It can feel difficult and heavy and sludgy. So it's like heavy stuff coming up. Like what's the argument you've been having with your partner over the last year, couple years, couple weeks, couple months that's like coming to a head where you're like, I need this to be addressed. I need this to be important, right? Those things are being right now tangled, teased apart. And Mercury, a planet about the mind, communications, is helping us talk about these things, is helping us process and communicate about these things, about relationships. How important am I to you? How much do I matter to you? What are the boundaries in our relationship? What are the limits? Like what can we do together and what can't we do together? What can I expect? So these are the kinds of things that we've been exploring. And because these are all happening in Pisces, Venus, Saturn, and Mercury are all in Pisces, a water sign, very much so about emotion and feeling and grief and depth. This has been a time to express the emotions that come up in relationships or in relational issues, and that maybe have felt heavy or, like sad or kind of intense or sticky. We're working through sticky, sludgy stuff in our relationships and our relationship to ourselves as well, and our relationship to how loved we feel, how much love we give ourselves, how valued we feel. So that is, kind of the energy of today, yesterday, the last week. Also, it might have felt like there could have been limits in pleasure or fun. Venus is pleasure and fun. Saturn is limits, responsibility, duty. We might have had to do work before play. Things might not have felt as enjoyable potentially because we've had to address heavier, more important, more long-term things. And it could also be that, we've had to kind of put a pause on the fun or the pleasure, the play to work things out that have been sticky or sludgy so that we can have more fun again, right? I also think about like consent with Venus. Venus is a planet about consent, about etiquette, what's polite, how do we show other people that we care and value them? Consent, right? Asking. And I know in my world, there's been a lot of conversation coming up around consent and respect. So Venus, Saturn, and Mercury are all kind of making this sextile to Uranus, a planet about innovation and revolution. So there's also been some innovation in our relationships and in finding a solution. It's kind of a helpful, creative energy. So that's kind of nice. And thankfully, Mercury is stationing direct today in Pisces. So that creates a little bit of a better condition for Mercury. Mercury can kind of struggle in the sign of Pisces, and then retrograde, it can really struggle. So if things have felt messy, sludgy, confusing, chaotic, like there's miscommunications happening, you can't plan anything, like you're just kind of like, ugh, you're not alone. That's the energy of Mercury in Pisces retrograde. So it's nice that Mercury is stationing direct, so that we're getting a little bit more clarity as Mercury starts moving forwards. And then when Mercury enters Aries later, it'll be a lot kind of sharper. So that being said, Mercury in Pisces is great for music, getting lost in some sort of flow state, dance, creativity, art, having emotional conversations, expressing the emotion that's present between you and another person. So there's definitely gifts to Mercury in Pisces as well. Thursday the 10th, Mercury makes a conjunction with the North Node in Pisces. So notice the conversations you're having, notice the messages you're receiving, or the information you're engaging with it. There might, the North Node often has like a fated quality to it. So there might be something important here, or something important that happens on this day that's related to like where you're heading in the future with these eclipses that are happening in the sign of Pisces. You might also notice an increase in mental busyness in conversations. The North Node tends to be a point of increase or growth. So we're going to increase or grow Mercury things, conversations, mental busyness, lots of maybe coordination, etc. Then on Saturday the 12th, we have a big old full moon in Libra, 23 degrees of Libra, opposite Chiron. So the sun is going to be conjunct Chiron, and then the moon will be in Libra, opposite the sun Chiron conjunction. Full moons are always times of revealing something that has maybe been hidden before coming to full light. On the same day as this full moon in Libra, Venus, the planet that rules Libra and rules this full moon, is stationing direct in Pisces. So there's a lot of kind of some symbolism going on here about, first of all, addressing a pain or a wound. Chiron is the wounded healer and really speaks to what we feel sensitive about, what we feel hurt about, what feels wounded, right? And then with Venus ruling this kind of wounded, sensitive full moon, with Venus stationing direct and starting to move forwards, it's kind of a point of like something moving forwards relationally, something maybe you've been working through or working on, clarity emerging. There's something that's starting to move forward. Perhaps we find the balm or the mend to the pain or the wound as well. And then I will say the sun is kind of in a close-ish square to Mars as well. So it can feel a little ouchy, right? So on Saturday the 12th, just be a little bit more tender, more sensitive with yourself, with other people, give people grace. There could be hurt feelings that come up, but it could also be a time to address the hurt feelings as well. And I would say that hopefully it's a time, and you can make it a time to address the hurt feelings. Okay, Wednesday, April 16th, Mercury heads back into Aries and immediately conjoins Neptune. So generally speaking, Mercury in Aries is going to be a lot quicker. Mentally, we'll be communicating much more quickly, we'll be a little bit more on our toes. But with the conjunction with Neptune, it's still kind of fuzzy, foggy. It could still feel a little bit like a Mercury retrograde moment just that day, as Mercury is so close to Neptune, because Neptune is similar to Pisces. It's like the dream, the vision, the desire, it's like it can be also delusional or illusion focused. It can be kind of a sludgy, confusing, mystical planet. Neptune can be. So with Mercury conjoining Neptune, it might also be speaking to a new dream or vision that is emerging, especially now that Neptune has moved into Aries. We are shifting our dreams to be in a totally different area of our life, whatever house that has Aries on the cusp for you in your personal birth chart. So this is kind of like the emergence of a new dream or vision. And then Thursday, April 17th, Mars finally moves into Leo and out of Cancer, where it's been since January. And we also had a couple months of Mars in Cancer last year. This is going to be a really big shift because Mars in Cancer can create a lot of fear and protectiveness, and it can result in bringing people together to protect and defend, but it can also bring some fear and some hesitation and caution, right? Whereas Mars in Leo is very courageous, it's very brave, it's a lot more willing to be seen, a lot more willing to take risks. So that definitely is going to feel like a shift. That being said, as soon as Mars heads into Leo, it's going to be approaching an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. So for a couple days, maybe like a week, there might be some tense energy in the air. Mars opposite Pluto can sometimes bring up conflicts that have been lingering beneath the surface, disagreements. It can bring up, power dynamics, power struggles. Sometimes, in very severe cases, violence. So I will say from April 17th, probably for like about a week, like maybe through the next Thursday or the following weekend, definitely a time to be a little bit more, careful, observant, watching your own emotions, your own internal reactions. Mars opposite Pluto can be very reactive, and so you might feel more on edge, more irritable, more ready to attack, right? So we want to be more mindful when Mars heads into Leo and is approaching that opposition to Pluto of our emotional states, of what triggers us, doing a lot of grounding and breathing, focusing on your breath. If you're getting angry, if you notice becoming more irritable or more easily angered, it's a good idea to focus on your body, come back into your body, and also just notice, what are the thoughts that I'm having? What are the qualities of those thoughts? What images or memories might be coming up for me right now? What does this remind me of from my past? What sensations are going on in my body? What am I feeling emotionally? This is mindfulness. And so we don't necessarily have to act or react with our anger, but we can be mindful and present with ourselves and communicate more effectively that way. Additionally, Mars opposite Pluto can be a time to stand up to injustice and fight in a way, right? Take action, be an advocate for something that you believe in or that you stand for or stand against. So it can also be a really powerful energy for that. Okay, so Saturday the 19th, the sun heads into Taurus. So Taurus and Leo share the quality of being fixed signs, meaning they're the middle of a season. Taurus is the middle of spring, Leo is the middle of summer. So we're kind of shifting into more fixed energy, which is a little bit more stable, steady, consistent, less sludgy and chaotic, which will be really nice. And then Saturday the 19th, we have Mars making a trine to Neptune in Aries. So this feels like taking inspired action, towards some sort of purpose and aligning your action with a vision. Sunday, the 20th, we have Venus sextile Uranus, Mercury sextile Pluto, and the Sun square Mars. So Venus sextile Uranus, we've been here before with Venus's retrograde. This is kind of like continued innovations in relationships, as well as continued innovations to how we think about our self-worth, our sense of attractiveness or beauty, art. Mercury sextile Pluto, Mercury, the mind, Pluto, what's beneath the surface. This is about having deeper conversations about what's really going on between you and someone else. This is about getting real, getting honest, getting to the root of something. Great day for journaling. Sun square Mars can have us a little bit irritated or irritable. Mars is a kind of rash, hot, fiery planet. And so once again, a good day to notice and be aware of your own internal state, your body, your sensations, your emotions, practicing mindfulness. And you might also notice a desire to take action on something. Mars square, or the Sun square Mars, really brings up this desire to act, to protect, defend, go after, right? So high energy day, potential day for feeling a little bit more irritable or like, potential day for conflict to come up, good day to resolve it with that Mercury sextile Pluto. Yeah, I think that's what I have for you. So if you are interested in an astrology reading and how this astrology or longer term cycles are impacting you and your chart, please reach out. This is a general read of the energy using the symbolism of the planets for everyone, but this all hits people very differently. We're all in our own seasons and cycles of life. So if you're interested in a reading, please reach out. I'm at consultation@lauragodenick.com, and I'll be back in a couple weeks with another astrology update. Take care.